Do you ever know anyone who was licked to death by a three-toed sloth? No? Because it's still happening. I am Kamurai! Things and stuff and games. Yay! Kitties are playing their own games. I don't think I understand them. Ooh. You were in a bad mood, kitty. Man, she's chasing one, and then her brother comes up, and she, like, slapped the shit out of him. A little bit later than I want to be, but I am late specifically because I had a lot of trouble playing a game yesterday. So I just was too tired afterwards. I'm like, so I didn't do this. Minecraft. So my friend's kid wanted to play with us, so like I got on there with her, and they play a lot in creative mode just because they don't like playing like survival because they die. And they get mad and frustrated, and because that's a good model for life to do that to yourself. So they play in creative so they don't lose, essentially. So I couldn't get her, like, we'd recently started investigating around for newer chunks so that we could find like some of the ores and fruits and whatnot. So I popped around in admin mode to make sure that they exist. So I confirmed some places where the fruit trees were growing because they're really easy to spot. I'm like, okay, so I found at least 2 places that exist on our current map. And so I when she wanted to play with us, she was like, okay. I was like, okay, I'll stop digging up sand for this glass factory and we'll go do something. What do you want to do? I'm like, okay. We'll ride the rails north and meet me in Bethla, and then we'll go from there. And then, like, that was a whole thing just trying to get west out of her. I swear to God. But eventually got up there, and we started, we grabbed someone else, and we started venturing through to the east to try to discover things. And she got herself killed. I died at some point, but I had slept in a bed, and I spawned at the tree fort. And then I lost the other guy because he ran off through the jungle without me. So it was just a very poorly coordinated frontier effort. But I ended up pushing, and I found a cherry tree, which led me to the whole new biome or whatever. So I talked about it over in HTKB. Oh, I don't have my overlay up. Haha. That one. Rooster is very upset that his sister's in his spot. And she's specifically blocking the corner so that she doesn't, or so that he doesn't jump up there and bully her off of it, which is fine. So like, okay, so we ended up pushing. I was hanging out there for the week. Like, I've actually found a bunch of the new more ores. I've got, I think, one of every new plant except for Inca berries and grapes, which I think somebody else's grapes. I think I have an Inca berry in Vale, or maybe it's for in our desert garrison. So that was the whole thing. So I ended up building a walkway out there because obviously people are going to have issues. And I found some rails somebody had stashed in one of our villages. So we're going to end up using those rails, I think, to build a train out there. So I've got to build another switching station, which the way I did the previous one, because our rails... We have 2 rails. We have one that's supposed to go in either direction, so you don't bump into each other. The way that's working is it's a 3-story system, so that, like, if you're coming in from the south, you go to the 2nd story. You have a stop there. You flip the switch to direct the rail, and then you power the rails on and you go on, and it'll take you in the direction that you flip the switch. And the third story is like coming from north to south. So I'm going to do something similar with the Northmore Outpost, which is what I was calling that. So that'll be interesting. And we don't quite have enough glass to finish off the existing rail, but there just may be a functional output for heading to the moorlands or whatever. So it made sense to at least build the walkway. It's not lit up or anything either, which is probably something we need to work out. We're surprisingly low in cobblestone, and I'm going to blame the fact that they did stone brick in the Bethla neighborhood that's outside the garrison. So that's probably why. And there's probably someone who has cobblestone somewhere, but the public stores are usually what I work out of. Because I'm very much, when I go collect, I put it in the public stores, and then I either use it for public projects, or like I'll glean some for me. Like I'll grab some for make swords. I'm at the point where I want to make some armor, but I don't want to waste iron to do it. I think I used some iron to make some doors that we needed, but not too heavy into to wasting it if I don't need to. Like, to make redstone, you actually need to take like you need to glue and then glue up an iron ingot and then roll it in redstone dust, and then you can use that to make redstone armor, which is like, let me just use netherrack. I just got to figure out the right proportions, if I remember right, and see how that turns out. That'll probably be helpful to some degree or another. If the animals were plenty, like, I would totally be collecting scorpions and crocodiles. Maybe I need to go specifically hunting for these sort of things. But I don't die that often because I try to play smart. But like when I do, it's like a great horrific death. It's pretty bad, and hopefully I don't fall in lava. On to Towerfall. Towerfall recently came out with an expansion called The Dark World. What was I going to say? So, like, it's really neat to go back to Towerfall. And I didn't even need the new stuff. I just needed to be reminded that I like playing this game. Because I really did. So I went through and I played through The Dark World, and I beat all that on normal. And then I got done with that finally, and I was like, what else have I done here? Is Trials. And like, so let me try Trials. So I did Trials for a while. And that was actually a lot of fun. I didn't expect it to be. And like, I got super self-competitive. I think I did the same thing in Smash Brothers. Like, I don't care about winning or being the best, but like, if I'm just doing things I did in Mario Kart for time trials too, it's like, oh, well, I can see how to do it. Let me see if I can physically do it. And if I can't, then I get whatever, I move on. But I was like, I'm probably, if I score enough here, I'll unlock something. And I don't remember doing that. So I looked up some of the characters and levels to unlock, and I definitely unlocked all the characters. And then I was looking at the archives, and I was like, why do I only have 10 out of 14 skulls? And I looked around, and I found out that I'm missing the levels after Cataclysm. There's 3 levels after that are like a gauntlet or something. So it's like, oh, fuck, well, I need to do those. I remember beating Cataclysm a couple times. I don't know why I haven't. So I tried to beat it the other day. I just could not get past it. It's friggin' awful. And I just like, one more time. My friends are trying to message me and like talk to me about stuff. I'm like, one more time. Because I just didn't want to get up and do anything real. Let's be honest, it was a nice escapism. I loaded up Dragon Age like 3 times, or I loaded up Origins to play Dragon Age 3 times, and each time something happened where like I talked myself out of it in between the point where I opened Origin and the point where I would have clicked on Dragon Age. And I'm super happy for that because I definitely enjoyed whatever I ended up doing, and Dragon Age is or Inquisition is very hit or miss. Because there's like some great story buried in some awful gameplay. Real quick. What was the other thing? Last thing I want to talk about, because this is gonna be short. Video games are short like that. Journey. Now I enjoy Towerfall. I played Towerfall for hours. I remember it being a relatively cheap buy. I got it on a Humble Bundle. Years ago, I bought a PS3 specifically for one game, but I was like, as long as I'm getting this, I can get it for the Unfinished Swan, which is such a fantastic game. If you ever get a chance, play the Unfinished Swan. And I was like, oh, I'll get Journey too. So like, I spent $300 for $30 worth of games because they're like $15 each. So yeah, that was a real smart purchase. And consoles are stupid, but there are these ridiculous exclusives that are only available via console, and Nintendo especially has a lot better ones than the other consoles. Like just offhand, A Boy and His Blob for the Wii, Pikmin for GameCube. I think there's a Wii version. I could be wrong. And Pikmin 2, which, if I remember right, there is not a. Is that the one? Maybe that's the one that has the Wii version, but there's not one for the first game. Dokapon Kingdom. I want a Wii emulator so badly. There's a bunch of Wii games like I would even go back and buy, not just like things I have. If I could do it on the computer, I'd give Nintendo money. I just don't want to deal with their shitty hardware. I'm not a hardware elitist. I don't want to deal with something that's not my PC anymore. I'm happy on my computer. PC Master Race. Isn't that right, Tux? He's right, boss. Oh, that's my fault. I don't know how it happened. Because that cord was over there and he was over here. Unless he reset pod it. Maybe. I don't know. But Journey. It took me so long to get to it. And like people had read it and raved about it way back when. I was like, oh, there's not gonna be anyone playing it. I'm not gonna get any of that interaction. I actually interacted with like 6 or 7 different people. Really interesting that way. Yeah, go ahead and restart Steam. So like I was happy about that. I had one point where I got stuck on one of the infinite slides. Like I got stuck in this rock crevice. I quit out of the game, came back, and I was able to start or to continue the chapter before. So it wasn't that big of a setback. In the beginning, like, yeah, it's pretty, but it's like, okay, you're walking through a desert. You're walking through a desert. You're walking through a desert. Oh, the wind's going to knock me down. You're walking through a desert. It's like Lord of the Rings, but there's no ring or mountain. Well, there's a mountain. There's not a volcano, though. Spoilers. But and the story is not even your story, per se. It's a story that's written on the walls. Steam just asked me for a survey. DSL cable is actually better than T1s now? This is ridiculous. Oh, telling them I have a microphone. That's not good. Nope, so now they have everything they need to spy on me. At your own peril, Valve. But it's such a beautiful game, and it starts out very basic, and a little drab, very little direction. You just kind of like can do whatever you want, and then eventually you figure out that like, oh, I can pray, and it gives me this little bubble, and that prayer can activate things that are on the map, and then you build up your scarf, which lets you jump higher and float longer, and like it gives you a couple things, but that's not the important bits of the story. They're just like very brief means to an end. Because it's barely a game. Like, it has some very basic puzzle elements. It's got some very basic 3D platforming. It's got some very rudimentary story built in, because there's no dialogue. There's no communication with other players. It's just you and the journey. And the journey itself is a story without telling a story. When I said it has a very rudimentary story, I mean as far as exposition goes. Because you get to read these cave paintings or whatnot, and you see the journey you're on, or the journey you're going to be on, or the journey that other people have been on. So you see that, and then you look at what the game represents, because not only does it go through some beautiful scenes, like there's this kind of underground cave that looks like you're underwater. There's some like wonderful water physics with the sand. You eventually get to like this place with snow, and that place all on its own is full of like neat little things. It's so beautiful. It's such a good artsy game, but emphasis on the art, less on the game. Because again, it's super linear. You go through this process. And thinking back on it, I don't know why I enjoyed the platforming so much. I think it was because it knew that you eventually had to do it, and you had to do it the way they wanted you to do it. So, like they funneled you towards it. So it was very hard to fail in that regards. Even the bad guy, like there's one enemy in the entire game, and he just knocks you down. He delays your journey, essentially. So, like, as long as you can avoid him eventually, you move on. But the game itself, the story of the gameplay you are on, feels like life. Like at the beginning, you have lots of energy, you run around, you don't know a lot, but as you learn things, you get into this nice, strong medium. And as you get older, you know more things, so you're more capable, so you can do more. And then you hit maybe I'm saying it wrong because okay, so yeah, and then you get to a point where you're not moving as fast. You don't have as much faith in yourself, or you're not as capable, so you're moving slower. And literally, the game takes you to a point where you literally just move slower and slower and slower, and you drop. And then these other characters are there, and I guess they kind of take you to the equivalent of heaven, where you can move and fly around, and you're free, and you're just enjoying life. And then you go to the end, and you kind of walk into the light. So it's very much like a metaphor for life and death. But I really enjoyed it. I really can't recommend that you play that enough. I don't know if you need to buy it, because it's 2 hours and you're done. So if somebody else has bought it, and then you see it, they're gonna be like, "Oh man, let me play through this," or "Let me watch you play through this," or watch a playthrough on there. Like I've got mine. It should be available on Twitch for a little bit longer. Otherwise, it's here on Gaming Division. So it's just sort of that thing, that one of those things that everyone should experience. And I hate that there's going to be a generation or people that just don't experience because it's not new to them. It's too old and off the radar because everyone who's talks about video games right now has experienced it, so they're not talking about it anymore. So there'll be this like resurgence 10 years from now, like, "Oh man, did you ever play that game Journey? It was supposed to be really up and coming for the time." And it's got a beautiful enough storyline and metaphor to it or not that I really hope it pops up. But the graphics, I don't know what the graphics are going to hold 10 years from now when we're doing holograms and VR and we take Tux, we do this, and he's actually in the video game computer with you. And oh, that's my face, kitty. That's my fault. That's my fault. Why'd you scratch me, though? What's on your nose? Oh, water, because you were playing in the bathtub. Okay, I get to walk in with the big scratch on my face tomorrow. And we're done playing. All right, I've got someone to contact, so I'm going to go do that. Oh, because it's fucking late. Or I'm going to go to bed, one of the two. But until next time, you'll see me then. Bye. Tux, we got to